Hey, how's it going? What I'd like to do today is I'd like to show you what you're going to do for exercise 7. Exercise 7 is going to be animating a guy doing jumping jacks, all right? And what that's going to involve is taking a series of 3 stick figures that I've already drawn for you. I've placed methods in an avatar class that will draw the stick figures. And your job will be to draw those in order to make a guy look like he's doing jumping jacks. All right. And you'll also count up the number of jumping jacks that he does. So that's about it. So I provided these 3 things. Your first job is going to be to draw each one of these things all by itself. So first you'll draw one, then you'll draw another, and then you'll draw another. So first you'll draw this guy at rest, right up here, right? Then you'll draw this guy in the middle of his jumping jack. And then you'll draw him up at the top. And then you'll draw the second one again, and then you'll draw the first one, all right? And after you're done doing that, you're going to be ready to actually animate it. So you'll know that you can draw each one of these things first, right, before you try to animate them. And after you try to animate, well, as you animate them, what you'll be doing is you'll just be keeping track of time. You've already kept track of time, right, with the stopwatch. You've already changed states, which is what's going on here. You've got these things changing states in the last 3 exercises, right, with the button practice, the logic lights, and the stopwatch. So that's what you're going to do here is you're just going to automate that state changing process. So there aren't going to be any buttons being pressed or anything like that. You're just going to use a test to see if there's been enough time in each of these states for the guy to change. And so that's going to look like this, right? So what I've done here is I've used 150 milliseconds. That's about 5 turns of the game loop, 4 or 5 turns of the game loop. And as you can see, it looks like this guy is doing jumping jacks. It's exactly what I'm going to want you to do. This is more or less what I want to see happen. I want to see this guy's big head bouncing up and down, all right? And after that, what you're going to do is you're going to look at how to actually score this. And the way you're going to score this is you're going to have your engine function check before and after to see if this guy has changed a state. And if he's changed the correct 2 states, then, you know, from the correct one to the correct other one, then you're going to add a point. So you're going to send a 1 back to the main loop from the engine. So the engine is going to check the avatar to see what the state is before and after it updates, and then you'll check to see what those 2 states are, and if they're the right 2 states, you'll send a 1 back to the game loop, and the game loop will add that to the score. All right, and the reason why I want you to do this is this has to do with variable scope, right? The engine should know nothing about the state of the avatar unless you ask it, and it comes back and it saves that information. And the game loop should know nothing about what's going on in the engine unless you send something back. So everything that happens in the engine disappears except anything you send back to that game loop. Right. And if you look at the engine call, already in the template, the engine call says result equals engine. So you're expecting something to come back from that engine call. Usually it's just a none. At least so far it's just been a none. But if you're going to score, or if you're going to do anything else that permanently changes the state of the game, then you want to send that information back to the game loop. So this is why you're going to do this. And so when you do this, you're just going to get something going on like this, right? Every time the guy finishes the complete side straddle hop, jumping jack, whatever you want to call it, you know, the number increments up on the top left-hand corner of the screen. That's your score, basically. And that's how scoring works, is you just wait for some sort of condition to happen, and once that condition happens, you add some points to some variable. In this case, a variable I called score. And that's all you're going to do. Once you've done that, I think you've got everything as far as the background for programming is concerned except for a few odds and ends that we'll deal with later. But you'll have most of your background, and you'll be ready to start adding a bunch of physics in to all of this stuff, which will be Unit 2. All right, so thank you very much for listening to this. And, look, pay careful attention to what's going on here, because your homework is to make a state diagram for this guy doing jumping jacks. All right, I'll see you in class. Bye now.